Hello, this is the part 2 of the video of lesson 2, absorption and the translocation of water and mineral salts. Let's see the objective of this video. At the end of this video, you will notice that in most plants, the crude sap is transported by conducting vessels. Second one, we will recognize the location of conducting vessels. Where are conducting vessels located? At the beginning, let's recall which information we took in part 1. First, we took that green plants need water, minerals, air, and light to survive. Then we took that water and mineral salts are called crude sap. If you remember, we talked about the nutritive solution, and we said that the nutritive solution is made up of water and mineral salts that are called crude sap. Also, we took in the last part, crude sap is absorbed by the hairs found on the roots, طبعا after an experiment that proved this information. Then, this is a picture of the roots, and this is the main root and the hairs around the roots that are responsible for the absorption of the crude sap. Now, let's see the experiment about translocation of crude sap. Translocation, it means the transport of the crude sap. How is transported, how is moved, and who carries the crude sap? First of all, let's see the question. Mazen, a student in grade 7, asked his teacher, how is the crude sap translocated in the plant? The teacher replied, we will perform an experiment to answer your question. The experiment consisted of 2 white carnation flowers. One of them was dipped in blue ink, while the other one dipped in water. After 1 day, the results were obtained as in document 1. So if we look at document 1, we have 2 flasks. In the first one, we put water and the white carnation flower. And in flask 2, we put blue ink and we immersed in it the white carnation flower. The first question, pick out the post problem. Now this is a new question which is about the post problem. Post problem, it means what was the question? What they ask in the paragraph. Okay, so as we read the paragraph, the question was in the first line or in the second line, when the student asked his teacher, how is the crude sap translocated in the plant? This was the post problem of the question that the whole experiment talks about. First, when we answer this question, you have to pick it out as in the paragraph, يعني copy paste. Second, do not forget the question mark. If you add any word to it, it will not be considered. If you forget the question mark, also the mark will be cancelled. So pay attention, pick out, copy paste, and when they ask you about the post problem, that means you have to keep the question mark as it is. يعني ما تقولوا انه هيدا جواب فانا بقيم question mark. غلط، لانه طالما هني they are asking about the post problem, so they have to see that you are writing a question. Let's continue now. We still in the same experiment, but in this time we have the second question, analyze the results in document 1. طبعا نحن صرنا معودين على هذا question. Analyze, it means we will write what happened in the experiment without adding any information from our acquired knowledge. So after 1 day of dipping both flowers, the white carnation flower dipped in water remains white. لأنه this is the result. So after the experiment, or after we finish the experiment, the white flower as it is, it remains white. So we wrote it as it is. Why? طبعا always remember the connector, or you can use however, or on the other hand. The one that was dipped in blue ink, يعني the white carnation that was dipped in the blue ink, it turned blue and white. As you can see, most of it blue, but we still have some white color. So these are the analysis of the experiment. يعني we wrote the observation as we saw them in the picture. هل later on, so after performing the experiment, the stem of the flower, the stem, which is the woody part of the flower, or the long part of the flower, dipped in blue ink. يعني only we took one that is in the second flask in the blue ink. What we did to it? It was cut and observed under the microscope as shown in document 2. So now we will look at the second document. This is document 2. These are pictures of the stem of this flower, which is the one placed in the blue ink. As you can see, we have to picture because we cut the stem in two ways, transversally and longitudinally. Transverse يعني بشكل العرض و longitudinal يعني بالطول. Just to see what happened inside the stem. The results were the ink appears concentrated in very fine tubes called conducting vessels. So these long tubes that you see them inside the stem, وطبعا as you can see them, they are dark. These are the tubes يلي هن called conducting vessels. طبعا they are dark due to the ink. And in this transverse section, we have these one. They are the ink يلي هن also in the conducting vessels. So I'm explaining the observation, okay, according to the results that they put it for us. Now, we still with in the same experiment. The question is, using document 2, يعني now we are working on this document, derive a conclusion concerning the translocation of crude sap. Pay attention, in the first question, they asked us about the post problem. So the conclusion that we must derive it must answer the problem that we wrote it in the first question. مستحيل تكون الكونكلوجن هي far أو not related to the post problem unless the experiment will be useless. Okay, so نحن we did this experiment to answer the post problem. So the conclusion must answer the question. So if you remember, the question was, how is the crude sap translocated? So what we conclude about the way of translocation, that the crude sap is translocated through conducting vessels in the plant. As you can see also, we can write the crude sap is translocated through conducting vessels in the stem of the plant, or you can just write in the plant. Okay, so this is the answer of the question. Right, now we still. The third question and the last question. Write the pathway of the crude sap. The pathway يعني how is crude sap translocated from where to where, starting from which part and ending in which part. So we can write the pathway. First, it was in the soil and absorbed by the roots. So the first one we should write it is the roots. Then it goes up to the stem. And in the stem, we saw under the microscope that we have conducting vessels. So I can write roots. Don't forget the arrow because we are writing a pathway. Once you have the word pathway, معناتها between the parts, we should put arrows. So arrow, conducting vessels in the stem, لأنه normally after the roots up, I have the stem. And then finally, we have the flower. So here, first we have the roots, then we have the stem, and finally it goes to the flower. طبعا احنا هون we are talking in general. Okay, هلا in this experiment we don't have any roots, we have only stem and we immersed it in the liquid. This is what the experiment told us. In this question, I talked in general the pathway of the root sap from where to where. So starting from the roots to the stem and then to the flower. Okay, so this is the end of the video. If you like this video, please press like and don't forget to subscribe so that in new videos you can watch them. Thank you.